This is the third video for Unit 3.5 about supervision during ingestions. We are going to see the strategies of the professional. Different professionals participate in the treatment of the patient and coordinate their knowledge so that the diet is safe, healthy, and satisfactory, and that the patient has the opportunity to promote personal autonomy during food intake. As the interdisciplinary team, a series of support plan strategies are proposed to facilitate the intake of the patient and make it safe. Faced with the barriers encountered, we can act at different levels. We can modify the environment. We can meet the specific needs of the patient. We can modify or adapt the food, and finally, we can train the professional. In this table, we can see different examples of strategies for an adequate diet based on the objective to which they are intended. For example, to promote healthy eating, we can reinforce good habits or offer healthy foods. To regulate anxiety, we can rest the caterpillar between bites. And to promote autonomy, we can stimulate the patient's use to chew consciously or explain something about the food they are eating. And very, very importantly, not do for the patient what they can do for themselves. After applying any of these strategies, we have to check their effectiveness over time. This involves monitoring the patient and the complication that has been found, how it is resolved, and how it evolves. Those strategies that result in something positive must be shared with all the people who are involved in the feeding of the patient and be registered as part of their personal support plan. Here we can see an example of an information sheet on food support. This file is an example of how we can have the necessary information about the required support, taste, and preferences of the patient to support him during the intake, whether the professional, family member, or caregiver. Having this file allows that whoever is responsible for providing food to the patient and supporting during feeding can see in a summarized way what the patient needs. It must include at least the items that appear on the slide, but you can choose the format you want and add the information that is considered relevant according to the patient. This sheet can be made from an individual report of the studied needs of each patient, clinical reports, and others. It's important to remember that this sheet must be updated frequently if the patient needs change in any aspect. Let's look at some examples of things that can happen to us while we supervise a dining room with people with acquired disabilities. I want you to think about what could you do. The first situation, we have the patient that is sitting at the table with his back to a window facing the street and preparing to eat. At the moment, two people begin to argue on the street, and the patient turns his head to look outside while trying to swallow. What do you think can happen next? Well, probably the patient is going to choke. Probably. In the second situation, the patient is eating meat. We observe that it correctly brings the pieces of food to the mouth, but that chewing is slow and is not swallowing the food. That is, it is accumulating it in the mouth. Finally, the patient expels the food that he has not managed to swallow and asks to stop eating. The professional who accompanies him insists on eating a little more without asking what has happened. Do you think that the performance of the professional is the right one in this case? Which professionals would you go to solve the problem? Maybe to a speech therapist, I think. In the last situation, the patient is ready to eat. We know that he has oropharyngeal dysphagia and needs crushed foods with puree texture. When the patient sees the plate of food, he throws it on the ground and flutters, showing anger. What may have bothered him? Could we show the patient pictograms or photos of the food before it was crushed? Could we propose to the kitchen that it take care of the presentation of the dishes and try to vary the colors of the food? How would these measures help? What do you think? Thanks for the attention.